You were so wrong. I'm so sorry.
Alien is a horror science fiction film series based on Ridley Scott's same-named 1979 classic, which can be found in the Alien Rare View. In 2012, Ridley Scott's Prometheus got here the addition Dark Science. Planned as the first part of a new Alien trilogy in which Part 3 was supposed to bridge to Scott's 1979 original, it is set in the late 21st century and centers on the crew of the titular spaceship, as it follows a star map discovered among artifacts of several ancient cultures. Seeking the origins of humans, the crew discovers a threat that could cause the extinction of humanity. It turns out that the android David works against the crew. But their partially absurdly dumb behavior, especially in the second half, actually proves that humans are much too stupid to live anyway. And don't need aliens to get extinct. The $130 million movie made $400 million worldwide back and got mixed reactions by audiences and critics. Although very well made, with beautiful cinematography, many things just don't make sense. The unnecessarily complicated explanation for the alien origin is, in my opinion, already the wrong approach. Because if there's one thing I don't need, it's half-heartedly pulled out of the pseudo-intellectual villain or monster backstories, which subsequently dilute for no reason, the reason is money, I know, a perfectly finished story. Prometheus, empty mystery boxes, works best when viewed as a simple horror movie, nothing more. Even if it can't keep up with Alien or Aliens, which film can, it's still probably the most tolerable of the sequels, if that means something. Not that I would watch voluntarily this stupid fortune cookie philosophy parade again. In 2017, Ridley Scott's Alien appears with the biblical addition of Covenant, which means union between God and man. 10 years after the events in Prometheus, the crew of the colony ship Covenant, with an android follow-up David called Walter, awakens prematurely from stasis thanks to a neutrino burst. The journey with 2,000 still sleeping people to a distant planet they want to colonize actually takes still 7 years. But as usual, there is an inexplicable signal from an unknown planet, which, of course, is pursued immediately against all reason and the actual plans. And as always, all members change from scientist mode to full stupid mode, and even now decide to settle on the completely unexplored planet, so that any cliché ever used in a horror movie gets a comeback. What follows is a best of underdeveloped characters, also known as red shirts, illogical behaviors and annoying scenes. But only if the viewer manages to get through the first 30 minutes, maybe with a good book, which are boring as fuck. Strange planets are explored without spacesuits. Security logs are constantly ignored. Unless they don't make any sense, then they are of course strictly followed. Even the all-time classic "I'm going to leave the group to get myself easier killed" is used here several times. The storyline of Prometheus is solved in a few seconds and makes now even less sense. To make the confusion complete, there were also, exclusively for advertising purposes, 3 2 to 4 minute short films under the title Alien Covenant Prologue, which do not appear in the finished movie. One is a fictional commercial for the Android model. One shows what happens to Elizabeth Shaw, the Prometheus lead, and one shows scenes with the new crew. At least this time nobody's accusing Alien Inconsistent Part 6 of 8 Episode 2 of excessive intellectuality like his predecessor, that's for sure. While Prometheus at least still looked good, Alien Inconsequent looks like shit, which is probably due to the much smaller budget of $100 million, facing a worldwide box office of laughable $240 million, making it a true flop. Scott delivers here a pure simple-minded horror movie in which all the characters come either from the fraction unsympathetic, incompetent, or both. The only surprise here is the lack of creativity and its predictability. It ends with the evil android David, the creator of the aliens. As only survivor of the Prometheus, he also hangs around, quickly tricks everyone, replaces the good Walter unnoticed, and now has control over thousands of sleeping colonists and embryos, which he happily uses as alien hatching petri dishes. Alien Incontinent tries to be Alien and Aliens, but cannot even keep up with Prometheus. And thanks to its completely exaggerated by absolutely nothing justified sheer viciousness, for me the worst of the entire series. What a mean-spirited piece of shit. In 2024, Disney's Alien Romulus is set in the year 2142, so between Alien and Aliens. Orphan Rain joins a group of young people who, like herself, are dissatisfied employees ripped off by the Weyland-Yutani company who hope for a better life elsewhere, but need cryo chambers for the 9-year journey. And in order to communicate with the onboard computer, need her android half-brother Andy to get them from the abandoned space station Renaissance, divided into Romulus and Remus. Before it crashes in 36 hours into the planetary rings. There, they discover that the station was a laboratory for experiments on xenomorphs. Which are woken up through the action, hunt down the tweens, one of whom gets infected by a facehugger. For answers, they activate the remains of the android Rook, a similar model as Ash from Alien, who, as usual, only acts in the interests of the company and whose chip overrides Andy's programming. Alien 1.5 by franchise rehash specialist Fede Alvarez, see also his completely unnecessary Evil Dead remake from 2013, got mostly positive feedback and has on an estimated $80 million budget so far in its second week grossed around $230 million worldwide, which makes him, at least financially, a success. The solidly staged and initially quite entertaining horror borrows apart from Alien, especially the final, and Aliens also widely from the other ones, like the human-alien hybrid from Part 4, which here looks like the engineer from Prometheus. and fudges the deceased Ian Holm, the android from Alien, digitally into their story. Which makes, at the latest in the second half, no sense at all whatsoever. The aliens grow so fast that you get dizzy. And it's got that crappy black evolutionary goo again, which already annoyed in the last two disasters. Which makes it, despite its apparent connections to the first, the original Nostromo alien was supposedly recovered there, sure. Primarily another Prometheus spin-off, which really nobody was asking for.